Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast, number 465. You should feel good about it. Wow, can you believe it? It is September 1st. Holy moly. Coming into the last quarter of the year. Man, this year is screaming by. Got a little sad news. Our Hummer friends have head south. Yep, it's awfully quiet, the feeders. Even our little Calliope has moved on. Now, I don't know if it's actually the moment, but Sharon and I were on the deck having lunch, noticing how quiet it was. Wow, and they're gone. It's so quiet. And all of a sudden, saw a little Hummer down the lambs here. Just saw its back and it was feeding. And I'm like, oh, look, there's a Hummer. Sharon then said, look, and it was, all of a sudden, it was perched on the guide rope, right just 10 feet in front of us. And we're looking at it. And then it came right up, it just zoomed right up, right between us. I could have grabbed it. It was so close. Looked at both of us for a few seconds, then poof, off it went. So, other than making Sharon all teary-eyed, that was kind of a neat closure for our Hummer season. Some of you I know are really blessed you get to have them all year around. Others are kind of like us, have them seasonally. So now it's time to wait for next spring to see if he comes back. And please put a nest where I can photograph it, please. Yep, light has changed. It is that time of year. I love the light of fall. It's just a gorgeous time. I see some of our white-tail bucks have gotten really some nice racks. I expect their velvet to be coming off here shortly. That'll be the for sure sign that fall is here. The equinox is what? 18 days away. So, hang on. Here we go into winter. This episode of the Moose Podcast is being recorded again with the Adobe Podcast Beta using their enhanced AI voice to clean up all the pops and all the other noises I make. Try to make me sound as good as possible. You'll find the transcript along with the podcast there on the blog post on the website, along with other links. And you make sure you check out other spots like Spotify, which has not only the transcript, but also has the place where you can leave comments. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Yes, I'm still asking you to communicate and talk to me, whatever it happens to be. Love to hear your stories as well. But you can find the podcast also on iTunes, Amazon, all those kind of spots. It's here to help you as much as I can. That's the kind of the goal here. Speaking of which, I'm going to be at the Mid-Atlantic Photo Visions in Virginia, November 11th and 2nd. November 1st and 2nd. November 1st and 2nd. I'll be doing a couple presentations, also doing portfolio reviews. You can find the link there on my website. You can go directly to Mid-Atlantic Photo Visions website. I hope you come. I really hope you come up and say hello. Love to meet you if you're a podcast listener. Have a chance to have a little FaceTime, shake hands, say hello. Good times. Good times. Want to thank my good friends at Bedford, bedfords.com, for sponsoring the Moose Podcast. They, I'm just less than 2 weeks away. I'm going to be heading up the Kodiak for our bears, and boy, those last minute things I need, just give them a call and bam, I've got what I need. And it's that kind of service and price and inventory and expertise that it just makes being a photographer just a little bit less stressful and a whole lot funner and definitely easier. And of course, at the end, you get the Moose discount. You get that money back. Well, if you haven't checked out Bedfords at bedfords.com or gone to one to their 7 stores or head to their website, you should. If you're thinking about, I only peruse the Nikon gear, my apologies, but I'm sure you are aware the world's a little bit weird right now. If you go to their website, you'll see where some prices have gone up a little bit, some haven't gone up at all, and some have actually decreased. And if you're like me, you've got to be totally perplexed and confused by this. I don't get it. Just don't get it. But luckily we have Bedford's who does understand it. And when you see the price decrease, it's like, wow, these guys are, they didn't put it in their pocket. They're trying to help us and keep that product moving. And that's just the kind of place that Bedford's are. Great people. So if you get an opportunity, head to Bedford's, bedford.com. Tell them Moose sent you so you get that Moose discount. Thanks, Bedford's. There are many, many, many times in my years of being behind a camera that I have done things that it's just like, woof, it doesn't feel so good. And then after a little while, it's okay. I was thinking about that when I was reminded of it this past week by something somebody else said. And a third person in the conversation simply said, you should feel good about it. And it just kind of percolated in my head for a while. You should feel good about it. And another person chimed in. They bought a piece of gear and they said, spent a little bit more than they should have. And maybe wasn't the right time for them, their budget or whatever. And they went and shot that gear in, anyway. Got some good shots. Later on, he said, they're right. You should feel good about it. There are so many instances in our photographic pursuits where, for lots of reasons, between self-doubts, what somebody said to us, most importantly, you put it on social, that the guilts pop in, the self-shaming come up, the so many things, when in reality, you should feel good about it. If you happen to go after a new kind of photograph, talking to a gentleman who literally photographs stamps for a living, catalogs them, kind of an interesting conversation. Anyway, as you might imagine, being inside, it sounds like, I don't think it's actually a microscope, but it's some sort of macro setup. It could be just a copy stand, but it sounds pretty elaborate to get the light correct and all what he has to do in flat field. But to actually venture from that into landscape photography. And he was saying he felt so inept and so, he's so used to very much a one-dimensional world. All of a sudden he goes out to 3D and he goes, I just don't like any of my photographs. And the next thing he said was, when I compare them to yours, and that's where I stopped him. I said, no, you shouldn't be comparing to mine. You should feel good about what you have just done. You have totally left your wheelhouse, your comfort zone, and you have literally left your house or office, studio, wasn't sure where he was doing his craft, and gone outside and to a place where now you have really no control. Yes, you have a camera lens, but after that, it's up to the photo gods for the lighting and the mood and all that stuff. And I said, you went and tried, and you have results. I said, can you see a photograph on your computer? Oh, I don't really call it a photograph. Well, do you see an image? Oh, I see an image. I said, then you should feel good about it because you have just extended yourself further. And to think that just because you've been, I think he said maybe he'll email me because I don't think I got his contact info. Anyway, I said, just because you've, been doing your craft for over 15 years, if I remember correctly, I don't think he said 50, I think it was 15, then, that's a long time before venturing off to another genre. Could that be you? Are you experimenting in some genre that you haven't done before? You should feel good about that. When I started to get into aviation photography, not such great results. I was like any photographer. I might have been shooting for over 20 years at that point in time, but closer to 30, I guess. Anyway, just because that's the case, just going after a new genre, other than perhaps you might have some better gear than you would have starting from the very beginning, you're still just a beginner. And because you went out and started, you should feel good about it. The other time that this came up recently was we're talking about Prince. Yep, talked about Prince quite a bit. Had a dear friend, and they had been printing for a long time. Had shared quite a few of their prints, some with their eye doctor, some with some friends, and they always really got just really kind result or words and praise as they should have, because the photographs were just delightful. And then they were part of an exhibit. I don't remember exactly the particulars, other than it might have been the photo club, but it was a bunch of friends. It wasn't just them having their prints on the wall. And the first day it was open to the public, they sold a print. Oh my gosh. You would think that she just won the lottery. You would think that all the excitement and the fun. And it's like, yeah, you should feel good about it. And then the next day, sold another one. Same image, another print though. A couple of days later, sold another one. And it's like, wow, the light bulb came on after all these years of not really that kind of a pat on the back where, people say nice photograph, blah, blah, blah. But when people put their money down, right, that's like the ultimate way of saying, yeah, we like your photograph. Here's a bunch of dead presidents in exchange for it. That's really good. You should feel good about it. The point of this podcast and what I'm saying is there's always two sides to the coin. And in photography, it tends to be more of the tails up side of the coin, where people just, for so many reasons, and probably not a lot of good ones, they just don't feel good about what they're doing. And it kind of slowly drags them down. And I'm saying the opposite is true. You should, for lack of better terms, look on the bright side, which I've been accused of for a long time. Be optimistic about what it is you're seeing. It's trying to avoid having a cliche kind of conversation here, but there's so many positive reinforcements that have been said by so many people over the ages that kind of cover this, that you should take comfort in that thought. Yeah, we're all going to fail. I failed. That's just part of the program, being creative. And when you think about it and you spend time at it, as I mentioned a number of podcasts ago, your passion, it does come at a price, but you shouldn't let your self-worth or the worth you place on yourself as a photographer be limited to just, the negative comments that seem to be really all too often anymore because of the state of affairs we're dealing in. You should feel good about the fact that you're just getting out with that camera. You should feel good about the fact that when you go click, there is an image there. You should feel good about the fact that you take time to share it. And after that, it's all gravy. You've already conquered all the hard stuff. You can't ever forget that you're better today than you were yesterday, and you should feel good about that. Really good. And you should realize that you will be better tomorrow, and you should really feel good about it too. It means you're progressing. And that's all we can really strive for in photography, is that we're a little bit better tomorrow. We all know there's going to be something new tomorrow, or next week, or next month that will push our buttons and motivate us to move further along. And when that new thing comes out, we might feel like we're not ready for it yet. That's okay. You should feel good about it because you know enough that you have ventured forward to understand that. That's a great thing. This is a slow and easy kind of proposition, this thing called photography and getting out there. Just don't always stay in your wheelhouse. Right foot, left foot. Keep moving forward. And I'm telling you, if you look at it, you'll find out that you should feel good about it. Well, you folks have a great first day of September and the week. Get out there and shoot. Head to Spotify. Drop me a note. Let's have a conversation. Get out and shoot. You take care. And remember to make every click your story.